You know, there's always ways for people to make contradicting statements and making, bad reports without having a lot of concrete information out there. And this is one of them. Okay. Now, I know this video is probably maybe a day late or something like that, but better late than never. Now, what am I talking about here? Okay. And also, salute to the LDBC and the boxing community, just for starters. All right. Now, here's what I'm talking about. Last Thursday, ESPN came out with a report written by Steve Kim, who is a very horrible reporter, by the way. Basically, it's talking about how negotiations between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia and the Arabian Peninsula, which is already a contradicting report. They basically tried to said that Fury's advisor, which is MTK, which is based in Dubai, is basically negotiating a fight on Fury's behalf, for a fight between him and Anthony Joshua. And according to the sources there, which they didn't reveal here, says that Fury would have Fury would have enough would have to be large enough to pay Deontay Wilder, who's fresh off an injury, to waive his contractual right for an immediate rematch. Now, here's the problem to this, though, guys. And the reports on ESPN, so all you gotta do is research it for yourself. But the problem is that this is a contradicting report. And listen, Top Rank and Eddie Hearn, they both know this. They cannot enforce a match between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. It just won't work. Because here's the problem with this whole report, though, guys. Because one, where are they going to get the money from to pay step aside money for Deontay Wilder? And number two, do you know that Deontay Wilder does not accept step aside money because because he has a rematch clause that he's going to enforce to make Tyson Fury fight him for a third time. And now another thing that they also didn't consider in this report is that also that listen, there's no physical financial way that you can make this kind of fight because listen, everybody's stuck on quarantine. There's not going to be a lot of people that are going to be willing to pay at least $80 for a boxing pay-per-view fight. I'm very serious. And plus, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, with due respect to them, they're not well known, in the United States. So you're not even going to get a lot of people. They're going to come by to see that pay-per-view, even if it's for a big heavyweight championship fight. I mean, that's just the facts of the matter. This will only be a UK led promotion because any pay-per-view that Tyson Fury has done horrible numbers. That's just the facts. Because Deontay Wilder has been the guy that's making the big time numbers. Okay. Now another thing that he also had to consider: the IBF mandatory is Kubrat Pulev, and he's been waiting almost about a year and a half for his shot at the titles against Anthony Joshua. Okay. The other thing that they also did not conclude in this report is that Kubrat Pulev said a couple of hours later on that same day, saying that he is not accepting step aside money. He wants to fight. He wants the title fight because he's been waiting for a long time to get his shot. And guess what? The IBF enforces their mandatories of all the four major sanctioning bodies that are all corrupt as hell. The one thing you can say about the IBF is they enforce their mandatories. So it's just not going to work. And another thing that they also didn't consider too in this reporting though too that most of us already know, but a lot of the casuals do not. Listen, this contradicts what Bob Arum also said too, because they said that Fury and Joshua is not a good fight to sell at the moment because they don't believe that they believe that Joshua is going to lose again, and most likely to keep Red Pull because they seen Anthony Joshua get knocked out by Andy Ruiz that pretty much derailed his star power. And when Wilder and Ruiz were both heavyweight champions at the time, we were all voicing for undisputed. All right. But a lot of these same AJ trolls and fanboys saying, like, no, Joshua deserves a rematch. Joshua's supposed to get a rematch. Neglecting undisputed. What happened? They got the rematch and Joshua got his belts back. And now you want to sit here and try to twist this around and say, like, oh no, go ahead, go for undisputed. What? Wilder can wait. Wilder can wait. No, he can't. Wilder's not going to wait. All right. Keep dreaming, AJ and trolls, and you UK fanboys, you UK useless trolls. That's not going to happen. Joshua and Fury is not going to happen. There's too many factors that's going to really blow this thing up because if they try to go make this match and they do it on Wilder's watch, Wilder can enforce the rematch clause, and if they don't honor it, Wilder can take this to court, and the judge is going to look at that like, yeah, you can't make this match because Wilder has a rematch clause, and you're going to have to respect the contractual agreement to the rematch. All right, this reminds me a lot of when Hasim Rahman, beat Lennox Lewis back in South Africa in 2001, when Don King was still the top promoter in boxing at the time. He had both Hasim Rahman and John Ruiz. John Ruiz had the WBA belt, and Hasim Rahman upset Lennox Lewis to win the IBF, the WBC belts. Okay, and Don King was wanting to make Hasim Rahman versus John Ruiz for the undisputed heavyweight championship fight. But what happened? What happened in the months leading up to that? Okay, Lennox Lewis enforced the rematch clause, and Don King didn't want to honor it. So then Lennox Lewis had to go to court and force Don King to honor the rematch clause, and he got his rematch against Rahman and knocked him out. All right, so this is going to end up really, really bad. There's too many negative factors that is going to derail of Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight. It's not going to happen. All right, because like I said, the things that I already told y'all. All right, and plus another thing, where was these same UK fanatics when they were basically talking about that Klitschko wanted a rematch, but then Klitschko retired, but then all of a sudden you know Luis Ortiz was a WBA mandatory, and then basically he was basically the top guy into being the mandatory for Joshua. And what happened? They basically swept that under the rug, and nobody was protesting for that. See, I get y'all. I get y'all hypocrisy. I get y'all. I get y'all your double standards. You will say these kind of things when it goes against you, but when it comes to something in your favor, you'll speak nothing of it. I don't want to hear it. I absolutely do want to hear a word that it comes out of y'all mouths. All right. The Fury and Joshua fight is a fight that is not going to happen. There's too many unknown, there's too many factors that is going to go wrong for them. All right. And also, there's no guarantee that we're going to have any boxing matches even for the remainder of the year because everybody's stuck on quarantine right now. Not many people are going to, open up their wallets and pay $80 for a pay-per-view fight. All right. Now listen, when everything gets settled here, there's no denying that Fury is going to have a rematch with Deontay Wilder. He's going to have to honor that rematch clause because Shelly Finkel and other people in the Wilder camp are basically telling you that Wilder versus Fury 3 is next on the menu. There's not going to be any other fights in between that. It's going to be Fury versus Wilder 3 either by the later this year or probably by next year. Most likely, in my opinion, it's going to happen next year. I just don't see how you can make a match, during this whole quarantine period. But regardless, I'm tired of all this talk about, Wilder's not letting Fury and Joshua happen. Bro, Wilder has his rematch clause. Get over it. All right? Get over get out of your feelings because at the end of the day, Joshua is going to have to wait on the sidelines once again where he belongs and wait for his opportunity. All right? And listen, he may not ever get an opportunity again because listen, when Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua fight each other, there's no guarantee that Joshua will even win too. So there are a lot of other factors that you got to consider here in this whole equation, though. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it like this: Fury and Wilder 3 is going to happen, not Fury versus Joshua. Get over your feelings, people. All right, y'all. Peace.